So we are seeing a few topics for MAHCET exam. Yesterday we finished the topic syllogisms and reverse syllogism. And today, as I told you, we'll start with machine input output. So what is this topic? What is input output? It's called machine input or input output. It is a question type where you'll be given some word and number arrangement, or just words arrangement, or just numbers. Some statement, some random jumbled up statement will be provided. Okay, and then with that, like, that will be known as the input, and along with that some other subsequent operation, some other subsequent steps will be provided. Okay, so you need to figure out the operation that have been performed to reach the final arrangement. Okay, so sometimes it's like it's performed step after step to reach a final arrangement, while other times it's performed in loop. Okay, so maybe there are one, two, or three operations, and they keep repeating in loop, like first, second, third, first, second, third, first, second, third, and so on. Okay, so these operations are performed until a final arrangement is reached or is performed in the loop. The student is required to identify the hidden pattern in the rearrangement and apply it to another question. So some another new input will be provided, and you will have to apply whatever operation you have figured out from the given input and steps, that you will have to apply to this new input. Okay. Just a moment. Okay. Good evening, Anjan. Yeah, I was not taking classes for a few days. All right. So about these type of questions relating to machine input output or simply input output are series of statements in different steps and is stated in jumble manner. So it is a kind of computer or word processing machine, and this machine performs some operations on the given input. The machine operates repeatedly according to a predetermined pattern. So today we are going to see several questions, and each question will be like different from one another. So you can go and later and practice more questions on the topic and see if it's clear. So here I am taking all different questions. These type of questions are normally asked in reasoning topics, and sometimes like they look really very tough, but sometimes they can be really easy if you understand. Like, the most important part is figuring out what the operations are. Once you do that, half your work is done there only. Okay, if you get stuck there, then it's difficult. So we have to look at the input line, compare it with the end step line, and after comparison, we can make an idea of the machine's performance. After plotting the idea, we can start from the first step to understand how the steps are oriented, like what changes have been done step by step. Okay, so there are some tips about the number of steps. So if you are on, like, if there are n words or digits, then at most maximum n minus 1 steps will be required to rearrange the input completely. Why? Because when you arrange n minus 1 words or digits, the last remaining word gets auto arranged. Okay, that's why if there are n words or digits in the input, then at most n minus 1 steps are required to rearrange it completely. Sometimes even lesser steps are required. That is when what happens is sometimes in some steps a few words or digits get auto arranged here and there. Okay, in an intermediate step. So that's when even lesser than n minus 1 steps are required. Number of words or digits arranged until the present step will always be greater than or equal to the step number. Okay, so suppose step 3. Okay, at step 3 you will either have 3 words or digits arranged or more than that, but not less. Next is, if the input is not given, we cannot determine the previous step from given step number, or we cannot determine input from the given step number. So the question requires, like, it's mandatory to have an input, because there is no way you can trace the input from the steps. Definitely you can trace the later steps from the input if the operation is happening in a loop, but there is no way to determine input from the given steps. All right. So the types of questions that are there are: number one, rearrangements based on ordering. Okay, where you have to order the jumbled statement that's given, maybe in ascending order, okay, or descending order, or forward order, or forward alphabetical order, or reverse alphabetical order, right? That's called ordering. Next is rearrangement based on interchanging of positions of words and numbers. So sometimes simply, like, two words are picked from different location and they are just interchanged, they are just swapped. Okay, about the first one, ordering, it happens by, like, whatever, suppose there is a word that starts with A and that have to come first and that is in the second last position. So simply that word from there will shift to the first position, and everything else will shift backwards. That's how ordering thing happens. But interchanging means that two words or numbers will be picked from certain positions and both their positions will be swapped. Okay. Last one is rearrangements based on mathematical operation. So in that type, some addition, subtraction, multiplication, some or the other operation is applied on the given numbers. Okay, so we will see this in detail. Rearrangements based on ordering, arranged alphabetically, forward or reversed as per their positions in the dictionary, while numbers are arranged in ascending or descending order. For example, we have this input: 71, cowboy, die, zirconium, 92, 45, 66, and bandit. If you compare that with the final step, what do we see? We see that the numbers have been arranged first, okay, and it's arranged in ascending order, and after that the words are arranged, and the words also are arranged in forward alphabetic order. Okay, so this is how, like, we are going to compare input with the final step. It, if it's mentioned, like here you can see it's mentioned that step 3 is the final step of this rearrangement. Okay, so we will always like compare the input with the final step, and we can figure out what operation have been applied. So now we know what have been done, but how it have been done, for that we will now check step by step. So if you compare input and the first step, you can see that the first number and the last word, okay, whatever, like whatever you require in step 3, in the final step, the first and the last element have been arranged in step 1, in step 2 second and second last, in step 3 third and third last, and fourth and fourth last gets auto arranged. That's how we didn't require another step to arrange the fourth and fourth last element. Okay, clear? Next is rearrangements based on interchanging of positions of words and numbers. So specific positions are selected and the positions of only those words and numbers are exchanged. The positions of all others remain unchanged. Okay, so if you see here, for example, the input is provided: 102 Bobby Indica, 49 Diamond, 22 Gas, Figure, 75 and 20. This was the input. So we'll first look at the final step. Step 7 is the final step here: 20 Bobby, 22 Diamond, 49 Figure, 75 Gas, 102 and Indica. So we see what have happened here is the words and the numbers have been arranged alternatively, starting with numbers. Okay, and the numbers are in ascending order while the words are in forward alphabetic order. Fine. And how have this been done? This have been done by shifting, by interchanging. So first we required 20, like it, and it have been done one element at a time. So first we required 20 to come to the first position. So wherever 20 was, this first element was sent there and 20 was brought here. Okay, next arrangement was for Bobby, but we see Bobby already is in second position, right? So you can't shift Bobby from second to second position. That's not possible, right? So what do? We move on to the next element. So sometimes you move on to the next element and sometimes you don't. What does that depend on? I'll tell you now. So if the arrangement is happening from only one side, if it's happening just one element at a time, in that case, what happens? If any element gets auto arranged, then you move on to the next element in that step. Okay, you don't just copy the same step, otherwise step 1 and step 2 will become same. If you if you just move Bobby from second to second position, step 2 is going to be the same. There is going to be no change at all. So no, we don't want that. Therefore we move on to the next element. But sometimes we don't. What is that case? That is a case when, suppose, the arrangement is happening from both ends. Okay, the arrangement is happening from both ends, and only from one end some word or element got auto arranged, but from the other end it did not. In that case, you have to keep this as it is and not move on to the next element. No, you'll have to keep it as it is, and only this one you're going to change, and then normally you have to proceed. It's not like it is auto arranged so you move on to the next element. In this case you are not going to do it if it's happening from both ends. I hope I'm clear. I'll explain you more further when we get such example. Okay, so in this case anyways, Bobby is auto arranged, so we move on to the next element. And then Indica, here we need 22, so Indica is sent there, 22, 22's position, and 22 comes here, and so on. Okay, last case is of this numbers, the mathematical operation. So you see here the input was 17, 25, 92, 88, 19, and 52, and the output is 10, 20, 90, 80, 10, and 50. So what do I understand when I look at it? So after comparing the input with the final step, we can say that the unit digits have been subtracted from the number itself. 17 minus 7, 25 minus 5, 92 minus 2, 88 minus 8, 19 minus 9, and 52 minus 2. Okay, now we will start with some examples. So first you need to only learn about this observation. Just observe. So there are two parts to this these type of questions. Number one is observing and finding out what the operation is, and number two is applying the operation on a new input and finding the steps so that all the questions that follows can be answered. So we are going to see this part by part. First we are seeing only the observation part. Okay, so you have to do nothing here, just tell me uh, what is the operation that have been applied. Just compare the input with the final output and tell me what step have been applied. Decreasing order of alphabet. Yes. So snow, cat, rail, snow, moon, fear became snow, rail, moon, fear, cat. So we see that it's the words have been arranged in decreasing order of alphabet or reverse alphabetical order. And how did this arrangement take place? It happened one word at a time. So first snow was arranged, then rail, then moon, then fear, and cat got auto arranged. Okay, the rearrangement is taking place from left to right. It's happening one place at a time, and it's done on the basis of decreasing alphabetic order. Next example, what's happening here? Okay, so here same, the unit digits have been subtracted from the number itself. So 26 became 20, 34 became 30, 56 became 50, 78 became 70, 63 became 60, and 99 became 90. Again, it took place two elements at a time, two numbers at a time from both ends. Next example. What do you think have happened here? What's the operation? So here again we see the numbers and the words have been arranged alternatively. If you compare the input and the step 6, you can see that here it starts from number, number, word, number, word, number, word, number, word. So it's alternatively arranged starting with number, and the numbers are in decreasing order while the words are in forward alphabetic order, right? And how did the rearrangement take place? It took place one alphabet at a time, one element at a time. So first 71 was arranged, then B, and 56, then C got auto arranged, so then 43, and then W got auto arranged. No, 43, then H, then 23, and then W got auto arranged. Next, see this one, and here it's not even given that step 4 is the last step, it's not even given that. So if you don't observe any pattern here, maybe uh, maybe randomly some interchanging have been done here. So just observe where the swapping have been done, like which words, and is it a loop, because there is no mention about the last step, which means it's possible that some operation is being followed in a loop. Yeah. So if you look closely, the first and the last element have been swapped. See in the first step. So since here no final step is given, you can't compare input with the last step because there is no last step. So you have to just compare it with the first step. Okay. So when you do that, you see I and dinner have swapped places. Dinner came to first and I went to last, right? So swap first and last. Next, what happened is even am and not have swapped. So second and third element have also swapped places. After that, coming home for is as it is. Right? Coming home for is as it is. So operation 1 is swap first and last, second and third. Okay, no need to do that. No need to put numbers for the words. It will get even more confusing. So what happened is swap first and last, second and third. Now if you compare step 1 with step 2, you'll see that first and second have been swapped. Dinner not became not dinner. And am coming became coming am. Okay. And then home is as it is. For I became I for. So what happened in the next step? Swap first, second, third, fourth, and last two. Okay, swap first, second, last two, and third, fourth. And then again in step 3, if you check, so not have gone to the last and 4 came to the first, which means first and last have been swapped again. Okay, and then coming and dinner, second and third also have been swapped, and am for home I is as it is, which means same operation that happened in the first step have been repeated. Swap first and last, second and third. This is what happened earlier. Yes. Again, if you check the fourth step, for and coming have interchanged positions, that is first and second. Dinner and am have um, exchanged places, that is third and fourth. And home is as it is, and last two have swapped places, which means again, so this two steps, these are the two operations, okay, which are being repeated in loop. So now if I tell you to find the step 5 and 6, can you find it? Tell me what are step 5 and 6. Can you tell me step 5 and step 6? So same operations will again be applied in loop. Operation 1 first on step 4, and whatever you get the output for step 5, on that operation 2 will be applied. So step 5 is going to be exchange first and last. So I will come first and coming will go to the end, and for and am will also be exchanged. So it will become I am for dinner home not coming. Okay, I am for dinner home not coming. And the sixth one, if you want to figure it out, okay, actually you'll have to write it. Okay, you can figure out any step as many as you want, because these two operations are being performed in loop. Okay, next part. Now I told you we saw the 50% part first, and now we'll see the remaining 50%, where you will have to generate the steps for a given input line. So suppose here it's already given, but you will have to do this part there. Okay, whatever input line will be given, for that you will generate this codes, and then some question will be following. So let's see how to solve those questions. What number comes in between first and third number from left of sixth step of input? In sixth step between first and third, we have 84. So the answer is option A. Next, which number comes after 18 in fourth step? In fourth step after 18, it's 38. Option C. Which number comes in between third and fifth number from left of seventh step of input? Seventh step between third and fifth, it's 76. Option D. Okay, like that you will have to solve. So now this is the exact problem how it will be given in the exam. You see, input is given, steps are given, you'll have to observe and figure out what operation have been applied. Okay, and how it have been applied step by step. Once you figure that out, you are given a new input, so you'll have to apply the same operation step by step on this input, have to find the output for it, and based on those steps you'll have to answer these questions. Okay, so that's what we are going to do, but in the next class, which is immediately after this. So you can leave this session and join the another one. You'll find the another session lined up in the Unacademy CAT-alyst page. All right, so I'll see you in a few minutes in that class again. Okay, that's it for this class. Thank you very much. And if you are interested to join Unacademy Plus subscription, you can use my referral code, which is RIYA.YT, to get a flat 10% discount on your subscription. Thank you. We'll stop this class here.